How many words are in Blue Archive? A simple question, but one that I've never seen anyone on YouTube answer before. So today I will be going through the process to answer that question. Before we start though, I think it's important to mention that I'm doing all this math based on the content currently available in the global version of the game. So anything in the JP version is currently not within my reach, so more than likely this number will be much higher in the future. The first thing we need to do is find how many episodes each part of Blue Archive's story has. In order to do this, I've split the story down into a few subsections that should make all the math easier. The 5 main subsections I've split it down into is main story, relationship story plus Valentine stories, mini stories plus event stories, group stories, then finally task stories. Next I've got to figure out how many episodes each of these subsections have. The first part I did was the main story. This was the easiest one to do since I could just open up the big menu and look at all them. And I counted a total of 317 episodes plus Prologue. After that, I then figured out how many relationship stories and Valentine stories there were. This one was a bit more difficult since I don't have every student in the game, so I can't just check. So I had to go onto the Blue Archive wiki and manually count up all their relationship stories. The final number of stories I ended up counting to was 745 stories in total, plus 119 Valentine's Day stories. After that, I calculated the total number of mini stories and event stories. The mini stories were extremely easy to do since there's only 5 of them. The event stories were a lot harder to do since I also have not played every event in the game. But thankfully, thanks to this dude on YouTube, I was able to accurately tell how many episodes there were for every event, so massive shout out to this guy. I will be linking his channel in the description of the video so you can go check out his stuff. He was very helpful for this. I ended up tallying in a total of 349 event episodes. After that came the group stories. These ones were also extremely easy to do since they're all just one menu, and I ended up counting 54 of them. And then finally I counted up the task stories, which ended up coming to 28 in total. After that we move on to part 2. This is calculating the average number of words per episode for each subsection. How I did this is a bit complex. What I've done is I've broken all the subsections of story content down into even smaller subsections, such as just volume 1 of the main story. But then I read around 2 episodes of that and used that number of words per episode to calculate the value of the rest of them. This of course means that the numbers may be a bit inaccurate, but I'm still confident it's pretty spot on. It should be mostly accurate. This was also extremely painstaking to do. I had to sit down and read Blue Archive stories for like 20 hours. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask in the middle of the video that if you appreciate this, please like and subscribe, so my 30 whatever hours spent editing and getting all this math together was not for waste. After doing all that, I finally was able to calculate the total for all the stories. Firstly came the Prologue. There was only 3,045 words total in the Prologue. And after that was volume 1. The average word count for chapter 1 of volume 1 was 1,378 words per episode, for a total of 20 episodes. And for chapter 2 it was an average of 1,289 words, for a total of 20 episodes. And for chapter 3, since chapter 3 is just 1 episode currently on global, I just used chapters 2 average for chapter 3 since I wasn't gonna sit down and read another 10 minutes of story just for 1 episode. And after doing all the math for that, the total number of words present in volume 1 is 54,629 words. I won't show the manual math in video for the rest of it since it's very tedious and it'll add like an extra 10 minutes to the video. But if you do want to check, I'll be leaving most of my math for all of it in the description of the video if you want to kind of just verify what I've done. And now that all the tedious math is out of the way, we can finally calculate the total volume for the entire story of Blue Archive. But before I tell you the grand total, I'm going to first break it all down to subsection again. The main story has the most words of all the story in Blue Archive, and it has a grand total of 405,689 words in its story. The second largest bunch of story was the relationship and Valentine's stories. They had a combined total of 393,129 words. The next largest out of that was the events, with the events having a total word count of 188,640. Then second to last after the events was the group stories with a total of 45,999 words. And finally last was the task stories, only having a mere 4,116 words. Finally, after adding all this total together, we come up with a total word count for all the stories in Blue Archive of 1,045,840 words. It's quite a lot of words. It's a fucking bunch of words. Just some fun facts to put that in perspective. The current King James Bible is most commonly assumed to only have 783,000 words in it, which means it's only about 3/4 the length of Blue Archive's story. Another fun fact, the average American can only read at around 238 words per minute. Therefore, if someone wanted to sit down and finish the entire story of Blue Archive, they would have to read for 73 hours non-stop. And that's without including stuff like transition scenes or scripted battles. Now that I've done all the math for all that, there's nothing really left to do. So thank you for watching. If you, like I said before, if you like, please like and subscribe. I'm probably going to try and make more content like this in the future, instead of kind of shitposty stuff. So hopefully I'll see you guys again in the future. Goodbye.